In Smoke, Dennis Lehane's gripping new crime drama inspired by the true story of arsonist John Leonard, or we're thrust into the world of arson investigation through the eyes of investigator David Gudsen, who's hunting not one but two active serial arsonists terrorizing his city. The series premiere introduces us to Gudsen, Nestor Carbonell, a seasoned arson investigator with a troubled past who finds himself paired with Detective Michelle Calderone, Juliette Lewis, a sharp police detective sent from Metro PD to assist with the seemingly unsolvable arsons. Let's dive into the explosive first two episodes of this slow-burning thriller that's setting streaming platforms ablaze. Episode 1 opens with Gudsen waking from a nightmare about being trapped in a fire, a traumatic experience we later learn shaped his career transition from firefighter to investigator. He has a loving if somewhat strained relationship with his librarian wife, who packs his lunch despite him being grown up. Their morning routine hints at long-established patterns and unspoken tensions between them. When Gudsen arrives at his office, he finds Detective Calderone waiting for him, an unwelcome surprise that immediately puts him on the defensive. Gudsen doesn't hide his resentment at having Metro PD send someone to oversee his work, particularly someone with no arson investigation experience. The two reluctantly begin working together as Gudsen explains the two serial arsonists they're hunting. The first, nicknamed D and C for Divide and Conquer, strategically sets multiple fires to spread fire department resources thin. Gudsen suspects he's a former firefighter who wears a rainproof jacket, ball cap, and has a distinctive limp in his right leg. The second arsonist, dubbed Milk Jug because he uses milk jugs filled with gasoline as his weapon of choice, targets homes in Trolley Town, often placing the jugs under porches or in doorways at night. Gudsen explains that serial arsonists are typically powerless in their own lives and want others to experience that same helplessness. Nothing makes you feel less powerful than being trapped in a fire, he tells Calderone. As they investigate a car fire that turns out to be simple insurance fraud, we get glimpses of Gudsen's expertise and Calderone's analytical skills. Their relationship starts off cold and confrontational but gradually shifts toward grudging professional respect. Meanwhile, we learn that Gudsen has secretly started writing a book about an arson investigator who gets in adventures and solves crimes, clearly a romanticized version of himself. His wife seems surprised but supportive of this creative outlet. In a stunning subplot, we meet Stephen, who is having an affair with a woman named Michelle. Their relationship takes a shocking turn when Stephen announces he's left his wife for her, only for Michelle to recoil from this declaration. She accuses him of misinterpreting their casual conversations about their future together, creating an intensely uncomfortable confrontation that reveals Stephen's impulsivity and Michelle's detachment. This relationship drama is juxtaposed against the methodical investigation of the arsons, creating a compelling tension between personal and professional storylines. The investigation leads Gudsen and Calderone to start examining the attendance records of firefighters, looking for patterns that might identify their D and C arsonist. This controversial approach doesn't sit well with Gudsen, who resists the notion that a firefighter could be involved, but Calderone pushes forward. Their investigation narrows down to two main suspects, Scotty Busick from Ward 7 and Arch Stanton, who has suspicious family connections that have kept him employed despite chronic absenteeism. Episode 1 climaxes with a confrontation between Gudsen, Calderone, and Arch Stanton that goes badly for the investigators. Stanton, clearly hostile and defensive, deflects their accusations with sexist remarks toward Calderone and refuses to explain his absences during fires. The episode ends with Gudsen telling his wife about his writing progress. He's completed 3 chapters in 2 days, suggesting that this creative pursuit could become his new calling. Meanwhile, another family's home burns with the father severely injured while saving his baby, showing the high stakes of catching these arsonists. Episode 2 opens with Gudsen and Calderone analyzing footage of the suspected D and C arsonist, with Gudsen noticing that the limp they had attributed to the suspect mysteriously disappears for several strides, suggesting it might be fake. This revelation causes them to question their profile of the suspect and reconsider their approach. The investigators also discover that the most recent victims of the Milk Jug arsonist had dinner at a restaurant called Coop's before their house was torched, potentially providing a lead about where the arsonist might be spotting his victims. The restaurant lead brings them to Freddie, a shy fry cook at Coop's who seems nervous around the investigators. Though initially appearing to be a potential suspect, we later see him getting a haircut for a promotion, humanizing him and suggesting he might just be an innocent bystander in the investigation. The scene at the barbershop provides a moment of community connection and hints at the economic and social struggles facing the residents of this neighborhood. Gudsen's writing becomes a more prominent subplot in this episode, with his wife reading his manuscript and praising the authentic fire descriptions, saying it feels like you're there. This validation clearly means a lot to Gudsen, who seems to find purpose in translating his professional expertise into creative expression. However, tensions arise when his wife discovers he hasn't shared details about the book with his partner, suggesting some deeper issues of trust or confidence. The investigation intensifies when Calderone decides to pursue Arch Stanton more aggressively, tracking him to a trailer that isn't his primary residence. After observing the trailer for some time, Calderone enters without Gudsen or proper backup. Inside, she discovers not evidence of arson but a fully stocked bunker with weapons. When confronted, Stanton reaches for something, and Calderone shoots him in the leg, believing her life is in danger. The subsequent investigation reveals that Stanton, while unstable and potentially dangerous, probably isn't their arsonist. He was too busy building his bunker during the times of the fires. This shooting creates professional complications for both investigators. Calderone is hailed as a hero for taking down a potentially dangerous individual, while Gudsen feels sidelined and frustrated that they're no closer to catching either arsonist. Their professional tension is compounded by personal developments. Gudsen receives a rejection from a literary agent, and Calderone learns that her son's father is moving 2,000 miles away, appending their co-parenting arrangement. These personal challenges add depth to their characters and explain some of their professional motivations and frustrations. Episode 2 concludes with a reflective conversation between Gudsen and Calderone, where they acknowledge that Stanton probably isn't their arsonist. He asked me how he could be an arsonist when he spends all his free time building his fucking bunker, Calderone admits, showing her growing doubt. Gudsen agrees, noting that once they cross-reference the fires with Stanton's receipts for cement, guns, porn, whatever, he'll be ruled out. In the final scene, Calderone asks if Gudsen has any other suspects, particularly former firefighters, to which he cryptically replies, just one, leaving viewers with a tantalizing clue about where the investigation might head next. The most compelling aspect of these opening episodes is how they interweave the professional investigation with personal demons. Gudsen's nightmare about being trapped in a fire, where he ran toward what he thought was another firefighter only to discover it was his reflection in a mirror, serves as a powerful metaphor for his current predicament. He's potentially chasing reflections of himself, both in his investigation and in his writing. The revelation that he saw something in that fire hints at a deeper trauma or insight that might be driving his obsession with these cases. Similarly, Calderone's complicated relationship with power dynamics and authority becomes apparent through her interactions with her captain, who seems to have relegated her to arson investigation as a form of punishment or sidelining. Her determination to prove herself by solving these high-profile cases adds urgency to her actions, sometimes pushing her to take risks like entering Stanton's trailer alone. By the end of episode 2, Smoke has established itself as more than just a procedural crime drama. It's a character study of people haunted by their pasts and uncertain of their futures. The dual arsonists represent different aspects of destruction: calculated chaos, D and C, versus targeted personal vengeance, Milk Jug. As Gudsen notes, these arsonists want others to experience powerlessness, a theme that resonates through everyone's storylines. With the main suspects apparently ruled out and tensions building between our investigators, Smoke has set up a compelling mystery that seems likely to consume everyone involved before it's extinguished. The show masterfully uses fire as both literal danger and metaphorical device. Relationships burn, careers go up in flames, and the truth, like smoke, is often visible but impossible to grasp.